Chinese is often portrayed as a super complicated language, but the truth is, once you start mastering the basics, it gets way more easier. Trust me. Hi! Today we are talking about my favorite topic, learning Chinese. I studied Chinese for 6 years now, and I tried everything. Teachers, self-studies, textbooks, TV shows, etc. And I summarized all those years of studying Chinese into this video. Well, not really. This is how I will have started learning Chinese if I was a beginner. So, 你们准备好了吗？我们开始吧! The first step is to learn the pronunciations, so the pinyin and the tones. The goal here is to be able to read pinyin with the right pronunciation and the right tones. Chinese does not have an alphabet like English or French. It has character, of course. But to help to read those characters, we have Pinyins. It's a system that uses Latin letters to show the pronunciations of the pinyin. It looks like this. Ta-da! But the trick is, it may look like a Latin letter, but in fact, it has kind of a different pronunciation. For example, ZH will be pronounced. So don't try to guess the pronunciation, just learn it from the start so you have a good pronunciation from the start. Yeah. Now, let's talk about tones. The tones are like the melody of the words, and they are really important because the same pinyin could have different tone and mean two different things. Does it make sense? I think it makes sense. For example, you have ma, so it's the word for mom, and you have ma, horse. And the thing with Chinese, even if you are an advanced student, when you're going to learn a new word, you will have to learn the tones. It's just that you get used to it and you start not having a problem with the tones. But also you should not stress too much about the tones. Like yes, they are important, but if you're making mistakes, it's okay. Just make a habit of practicing with the right tones. And the thing with tones is like different teacher will tell you different things. I had a teacher that was super strict about learning the tones and the proper tones. And my current teacher is more about focusing on poses and how you structure your sentence. So even if you don't have the perfect tones, it's okay because how you pose and how you structure your sentence, it will make the people in front of you understand your sentence. I will link his video in the description if you want. Just to be safe, what I like to do is to practice my flashcard and make sure I use the proper tones. I will make an effort to try to use the proper tones when speaking, etc. But if it's not perfect, my goal is to be understood. It will be less stressful to know that if my tones are not 100% perfect, I can still be understood. So yeah, I have resources for learning the pinyins, for learning the tones. I will link everything in the description, so just go check it out. 2 is learn the basics. So basic sentence structure, greetings, introducing yourself, etc. And the best way for you to do it is by using a textbook or a structured Chinese course. And also download a Chinese dictionary. He will become your best friend in this long journey. Do you want to go down? I personally use Pleco, but I think a lot of Chinese learners use the same app. It's amazing. I will link it also in the description. To talk about the textbook, you can use any beginner textbook. It's up to you. But the more common one is the standard one that is the base for the exam that you pass when you want to learn, like certify your Chinese, and it's the HSK one. It has different level, and it's great to give you the basics of Chinese and be able to speak like really standard, like 普通话, really good standard Chinese. This curriculum gives you a good foundation, and you can find a lot of resources around the HSK online. You just have to put HSK, put your level, so HSK 1, HSK 2, and you find a lot of resources online based on the vocabulary and the grammar points that are in this curriculum. And the best thing is that it's completely free. Personally, I started with the HSK 1 and HSK 2 when I was in the group class. Then when I took private teacher, we changed completely and we went on other textbook. And for the moment, I don't use HSK, but sometimes I like to go back and check if I know the vocabulary from HSK 3, HSK 4 to see a little bit where is my level compared to the standard level. So how will I study a lesson from the HSK or from my textbook. So I like the textbooks with dialogues where I can learn the grammar points and the vocabulary in context directly. So you have those little texts in HSK 1-2, so it's great. I will just read the text and I will highlight the words that I don't really know. Then if there is explanation for the grammar points or the vocabulary, I will read it. I will read it just to have a general idea, but what I will focus on more is the example sentences, because often example sentences help you to better understand how to use the grammar point when the explanation is more like academic. But with the example sentences, it's really clear. After having understood how to use a grammar point or how to use a vocabulary, I will make practice sentences. I will make my own practice sentences about my own life, my hobbies, my goals, my life. It's only after using the words for yourself that it's going to become part of your active vocabulary. Finally, I will create flashcards with them to be able to review them daily. And one thing to be careful of, don't try to rush, take it slow. Make one lesson at a time, one lesson per day, or etc. Don't try to learn too much at the same time because your brain will not really absorb it. At the beginning, we are so full of motivation and we want to learn as much as possible of this language. And so we will end up like trying to learn a lot of vocabulary, a lot of grammar points, but you cannot learn so much in one day. So take it slow, take your time, enjoy the process. I literally sometimes want to go so fast that sometimes I'm like, okay, whoa, enjoy. Take your time. Learn slowly. Let your brain absorb, you know? I will link in the description textbooks that are free to use if you want to start Chinese. There is the HSK one, but there are also 2 others that are not really HSK. So go check it out. 3 is the Hanzi, the Chinese characters. The goal here is to start to recognize the most common Hanzi. And if you want, be able to write them. This is the part that people often fear. The characters, the Chinese characters, but they are actually not that hard, I promise. So the priority is to be able to recognize them, and if you really want and you're like me, learn to write them. The thing is, don't ignore them. Start to try to read them and recognize them from the beginning, because it's easier to learn new words and learn the character as we go than having to come back and learn the characters after, even though you know the words, you know? And why do we have to learn how to recognize the Hanzi? Well, because in real life you do not always have Pinyins. When you're going to China or trying to read a Chinese book, it's only in Hanzi, in Chinese characters. So let's learn them from the beginning and save us so much time. So how will I approach learning Hanzi as a beginner? If you want to be able to write them, we will talk about that after. Start with the most basic ones, the ones in your lessons, the one in HSK 1. Those are the most like basic ones, the more common ones at the beginning. Don't try to go and learn random Hanzi. It will not be really efficient, you know? For example, when you're in your textbook, try to read the Hanzi. Often you will have first a line with the Pinyins and then you will have a line with the Hanzi. If you can, and if you have the capacity, try to only focus on the Hanzi, so you train your brain to recognize the Hanzi, and when you don't know the Hanzi, you just look up and you see the Pinyins. It's really like an exercise to be able to read and recognize the Hanzi, yeah? Also, a great thing to do is to learn the radicals. Radicals are the building blocks of Chinese characters. So a character is often composed of different radicals, and each radicals have a meaning. Most of the time. For example, this is the radical for water, and it appears in everything liquid, water-based, you know, that kind of things. Being able to recognize the radical and know that is the radical for water, this is the radical for bird, you're gonna be able to guess the meaning of certain characters that has the radical in it. You get me? Yeah. And now a question I was asking myself for so long while studying Chinese as a beginner. Should I learn how to write the Hanzi? Like, it's a big discussion, I feel. Like, some people feel like you don't have to learn how to write the Hanzi because anyway, you're going to type them everywhere on your phone, on your laptop, and that there are some people who want to be able to write them. Either way, you do what you want. If you feel like you prefer to just focus on recognizing them and typing them on your phone or your laptop, it's okay. You can just focus on that. But if you want to be able to write them, you can take your time. You can make writing practice session is like you want. You have to enjoy what you're doing. Personally, I want to be able to write in Chinese just because I want to be able to journal. I want to be able to use paper. I just want to be able to write. And I feel like it's really relaxing when you're just practicing how to write Hanzi. You have music on, and it's a bit like, you know, people that are doing Chinese calligraphy, how they will take their time and really enjoy. I feel like it's really peaceful. Finally, if for some reason you're having a hard time to recognize a Hanzi or remember how it looks, well, you can just let the time do the work and see it constantly, and then it's gonna be in your brain. Or you can use mnemonics. Mnemonics can be a little story that you build around a Hanzi. For example, the character for rest, it's person and a tree. And so the story behind it is that it's a person taking a rest on a tree. And so when you see the character, you see the radical for person, you see the radical for tree, and you're like, oh, this is the character for rest. I personally just let myself see the character multiple times, and then at some point I will just be able to recognize it. I just keep it simple. I just make my flashcard with the character on it. I see it. Oh, Tracy. Good. At some point, it will just stick in my head. 4 is listening and immersion. The goal here is to understand simple Chinese sentences and get used to the rhythm of Chinese. The more you hear Chinese, the more it's going to improve your pronunciation, your listening skill, and your overall feel for the language. You don't have to start with something complicated. Just start with beginner friendly, something that you can understand. So podcasts that are beginner friendly, like Chinese Pod, Maomi Chinese, Chill Chat. I will put everything in the description. Often people will tell you to listen to kids show. Personally, if I watch a kids show, I will get bored really easily. So I'm trying to look for things that are a little bit more interesting to me. Try to listen daily to Chinese things, and don't worry about understanding everything. Try to understand the overall context. It's the beginning. You just have to start getting used to the sounds, tones, rhythm, etc. One thing that will make learning Chinese even more enjoyable is to start getting curious about the culture, about the TV shows, about how they live in China, how they think, etc. Try to find content that you like in the language. You will start to interact with the language without really trying to interact with the language. You will just interact with the language because you want to watch this TV show in particular, and you will have the language in your ears. Yeah. Final one is practicing speaking. The goal here is to use the words and the grammar points you learned to create real sentences out loud. Once you know the basic, start practicing speaking right away. Some people say that you don't have to practice speaking right away. I personally like hearing myself talk the language. So as a beginner, I will yap away. I will say everything I can say in that language just because I like being able to sound like the person I see on the TV. I just love it. Sure, you don't have to be an advanced student to be able to start speaking. You can start from a beginner stage, saying basic sentences like I like sushis, I like going to the cinema, I want to eat noodles, etc. Something I talk about a lot on my channel is shadowing and repeating. So you will take a piece of content and talk at the same time when the person is speaking, or just repeat what they're saying. Something I like to do is make practice sentences out loud, to practice speaking and like pronouncing the words directly. Even with 10 words that you know in the language, you can make so much sentences. Like right now with Tagalog, I'm learning the basic words. You will hear me be like, gising na, tara na, totoo ba? I just like speaking the language. It's just, I feel like I'm making progress, you know? This exercise is really great for building confidence. So when you will want to talk with native speaker, you will be like, I have experience talking to myself in my bedroom. Don't test me. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. It's midnight. I'm losing my marbles. To summarize, first, learn the pronunciation, so pinyin and tones. They're really important. Make sure to learn how to pronounce them. I had a teacher, she was so strict, but the fact that she was so strict, now I feel like I know how to pronounce the word correctly. Well, I hope. 2 is learn the basics, so basic greeting, basic sentence structure, etc. 3 is add the Hanzi early on. Don't neglect them. Try to start recognizing them from the start. 4 is train your ears with content in Chinese, so podcasts, YouTube videos, movie, etc. And 5, practice speaking even though you only know few words. Like already feel like you're a fluent learner and making basic sentences. Those are not one after the others, it's just like different point of the language. But the first one still is pronunciation. Don't neglect it. Promise me you will not neglect it. And that's it. If you want more videos about language learning, watch this playlist right here. Hope you enjoy. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Wanna make you happy and then she goes. 나만 혼자 남겨뒀어. 대화가 필요해.